I want to share with you this project I'm working on. So we had hard vertical blinds here, and last fall I took them down. I said I want to get creative with the curtains, and I just bought this painter's cloth, and I've been washing it and washing it, trying to get it to turn whiter and softer. So that's been the first step. Now I'm getting ready to cut it off. I can't decide if I like this long length or if maybe I just want it to come down to about here. And I love the morning view out into the backyard. Now my bed's kind of a mess, but I have a small house, small bedroom, and you see I have another one over here, and this overlooks our patio. So it's fun to get the lights from the patio inside. Now here's in the guest bedroom. We still have these hard vertical blinds. So they lend to a certain style, but I'm just wanting a different style in my bedroom. I love this chair. It was in my childhood home growing up, but I painted it white and put the white pillow in it. Anyway, I am torn. I keep thinking, do I want to cut this off? I've always wanted long curtains, and I think I've decided what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut it off, because I'm doing a piecemeal thing anyway, so I can always make it long again if I don't like it short. And this way I've seen it hang long for a while. And look at Tizzy fit. She's hanging with Mom. She messed up my pillows. Good morning, Miss Tizzy. So I have here on the bed, I have a tray. This is my tea tray, now turned into a inspiration tray. And what I'm going to do, these are all the colors and textures, and I have some buttons. I'm just going to get artistic with these curtains and do it gradually over a period of time. So here's some beads I bought that I want to hand sew everything, but maybe this first step, when I cut it off, I'm going to take this ribbon, and I love the texture of it. I'm going to sew it along the bottom. And I have all of these scrap fabrics that I've pulled. I need to get me a basket. They'd be fun in a basket sitting in a corner. And you know, I'm going to be adding these piecemeal to my curtains. I've got all these buttons. So I got a color theme kind of going on. I've got these buttons, lots of ribbons. I even have some rope. This is my sewing box. So my needles and thread, and that's all I am going to use, other than my scissors. These are my scissors that I've had. My mom gave them to me when I first started learning how to sew with the machine in 7th grade. You see they're a little rusty, so I need to tend to them. I do have down in here a sharpener. But this is what I've always used to sew with, and I'm going to be making my first cut. There you go, first cut. So, yikes. It's okay. I'm going to get artistic, and this is kind of fun. No telling where these curtains are going to turn out to be. And there it is. And I got a nice piece of scrap material to lay around, or do something else with, or eventually sew it onto the bottom. But I think I do like the lightness of the shorter curtains and to see more of the wall. And might I add, my company is the most adorable. Hey, cute. How's my cutest dog on earth? So now I'm going to do my cutting on these. Hey, spoiled baby girlfriend. She always has to sit on a tuff. So there I have another very lengthy piece of fabric. I can either sew back on the bottom or make into a tablecloth or something else. You know, you should wake up for the morning. But here is the other curtains. I love sharing my stages with you. I'm not sure I like this one as much. Short. You know, I wonder if I want one long and one short. This is my cedar chest. This was a gift to my grandparents from their parents on my grandparents' wedding date. It was a wedding gift, and when my grandma was dying, she said to my grandpa, when I get married and I buy my first house, he could bring this chest to me. And sure enough, he showed up at my door, and there's a little note inside. Everything on this shelf is also heritage stuff. So all of this is from my great-grandma, and most of it's from my one great-grandma. A few of these things we got on our wedding. Look, I found a cute bag that I can put my inspiration fabric out that I've pulled out. And in the bottom of my sewing basket, check it out, I found these really cool, like, old buttons. I feel sad I don't remember what they came off of, but they would be really cool. Adding them to my inspiration pile. I found these in the bottom too. Aren't those lovely? So I'm torn. What I was going to do was get my machine out to sew this ribbon onto the bottom, but I kind of want this whole thing to be a hand-sewn project. So I think that's what I'm going to do, sew it while it hangs. So here's my first stitches. I went ahead and just folded it over from the front. I do want it to hang down because I want this lacy part to be bare to show through. So I went ahead and lined it up with this edge, and I just kind of whipped stitches all around to kind of secure that edge. And now I'm just going to kind of I'm going to just line up the edge of the ribbon with the edge of the fabric and whip from the back side, and whatever happens to the front side happens. It might be messy, but I kind of thought it was important to keep that from unraveling at the bottom, although this is painter's cloth and it doesn't unravel. I did not cut it. I've got it sitting on the chair. I'm gonna sew it right in place. So day after day after day goes by, and I find myself not having time to hand sew this, but it's hanging from my window and draped over to the chair, and I just keep telling myself it's okay to let it look a mess day after day and pick it up and do a few stitches every day. Making lots of progress. I think it looks pretty, almost to the end, and I want to share for my granddaughters how how I thread and knot a needle. So I put the needle in my mouth, get some thread, and then I make a very, 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 very long, I just pull a couple times thread. See how long it is? Goes like all the way down to the floor. And cut it. And then I'm going to thread it, and Grandma can do this really well. And then I'm pulling up on my needle, get down here on this part of my hand. And then I'm pulling up on my needle and holding one end until they both reach the same length. Then I'm going to grab both of them together, and I'm going to let go of my needle so it just hangs. Okay, now I'm going to knot it. And here's how Grandma learned to knot it. See, I'm making them even. If I do this, it makes them all even, and there's the needle. So I don't know how to teach this, but this is how I do it. And I have to pay attention how I'm doing it. I'm going to hold on to the end, and I pull this back some, loop it around my finger, put this end through the hole and grab it again. And then I'm holding it right here on the end. I'm going to put my finger down on the knot so that, on the thread, so that the knot comes all the way down at the end. See, I'm going to do it again. I'll show you how fast I can do it. See, and they all come in the same exact spot. And you just make a whole bunch of them in the same spot. So let me see if I can do this again. I've done it so long all my life, I don't know how I do it. So I'm holding on here, making a big loop, putting the end through the loop, and grabbing it again. And then I'm just going to grab and hold a short distance from here and pull. See that loop? I'm pulling it down until it lands on top of the one before. Maybe if I do it enough times, you'll be able to watch it. See how fast I can do. And every time it lands on top of the one before. I only do it like maybe 2 or 3 times. But let's do it again. Hold on to the end, and then I just slide this one down around my 3 fingers. Now I've forgotten. Oh, I let go of this to put it through the hole, and I pick it up again. I'm going to grab just a little distance from my finger and pull until it goes down on it. Am I doing good? Am I teaching them pretty good?
Yes.
You think they can get it? It seems complicated, but once you do it so many times in your life, it's very easy. One more time. Holding the end around my fingers, put it through the hole and grab it again. And then, so I'm holding it with these 2 fingers, with my thumb and middle finger. And then I put this finger down on all 3 of those. And I let go of this. And I pull till it lands right where the other ones are. Now, I like sewing this way because if it's double threaded like that, you don't lose your needle. So sometimes there'll be a little bit of an end here and I cut it off. Sometimes I just leave it. So I'm going to go over here to my sewing project, put my needle in my mouth while I work it with my hands. And so these 2 fingers are holding it in place where I want it. Now I am going, if this was long on the end, the extra part of the knot, I'm going to come up from underneath so that the knot goes underneath and now it's hidden. So you don't have to snip it off if you do it that way. If you're not doing a project like this, you might, and it's going to show, you might have to snip it off. And see, I can let go of this and it stays. Every once in a while, you might want to run your fingers down so that it stays together, the two strands. But I'm just making a simple loop around the edge to secure the edge of this. So I'm going through the material. See, it's sticking out over here. And back up. Got to make sure you're on that side of the thread and pull. And now I'm going to go down a little bit more and do it again. And that's how I'm sewing these two things together. And when I need a break, I just put it through and leave the needle like that, and I can let go. Isn't that pretty? See, I sewed all of that so far by hand. And I think it's really pretty how the light's showing through. And what I'm going to do with this, because this material is messed up, I'm going to take a ribbon and I'm going to make French knots on it and sew the ribbon there. So here are one of the curtains that I use in my kitchen to kind of give you an idea of what I'm doing. I pieced together just scrap fabric. Only this time I'm piecing it all together while it's hanging and hand sewing it all. But you see how in here is a little piece of scrap ribbon that I found in the basement. This is actually a piece of ribbon from my grandma's Christmas stash. I absolutely love it. You know, and you see here's another one. So this kind of gives you an idea of what I am doing with this project. I love these curtains. It is taking me way too long to work on this project more. There's my fabric and my basket of stuff, of goodies. So we are going to go ahead and publish this before I lose any of my video snippets, and I'll have to start a second video for down the road.